This week on Dumb Pitches, my guest is Jordan Power, and him and his butthole are here to talk about all of his stoned bad ideas, and they're actually pretty good. I'm invested. We get into some personal stories, too, and this episode is definitely brought to you by squirt.org. So here we go, Dumb Pitches.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monicanevi. I'm your host, Monicanevi. This is the show where we talk to successful people about their worst ideas. I'm very excited for our guest today. Please help me welcome Jordan Power. Yay.
What's
Everyone
up?
claps. It's good. Hi, thanks for being here.
Who clapped? Was that you or your producer?
Me and my producer, both of us.
Oh, okay.
It's a team effort over here.
Okay. I'll do this too. There we go.
Yeah, you can clap for yourself. People at home, I'm sure, are also clapping. Well, thanks for being here. I'm excited to have you. We always like to start off by giving our guests some credibility so people know you had some good ideas before we get into your bad ideas. So I'm excited. You're a very funny comedian. You were a former co-host of the Shame on You podcast, which was very popular. You wrote a book, which is crazy because we haven't had any authors yet, too. It's
Don't
multi-talented.
Don't do it.
Don't write one. It's called Famous Anus, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And now you have another podcast called Unmentionable, as you can kind of see behind your head there.
That's where I am right now.
Nice. So plenty of good ideas. Maybe you said don't do it. Don't write a book.
You know what? It's like kind of one of those things where you start it and then halfway through you're like, I think I should blow my brains out.
One of those
like,
things. Yeah, I know those.
But that happens. Like some bad sex where you have to, abort in the middle. It was kind of like that. I got to the editing process and I was like, why did I ever do this? But then when it comes out and you get all the adulation, you're like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's it seems like, because I haven't written a book, but it seems like the ultimate when you're done, it's like the best thing you could have finished besides sex, I guess. Maybe that happens all the time, though. It doesn't take that long to finish.
I mean, I was on drugs for most of it, and it's also very odd that like the protagonist in the book is my asshole. So I mean, that's like its own problem. But my family's actually quite proud of me, shockingly.
Have you guys
when you tell your mom
Jordan's
you're writing a book
about his butthole? Have you guys?
My mom's like, "What's the book called?" I'm like, "Famous Anus," and then she just went.
I mean, because that could go a few different ways. It could just be about, whatever, a memoir about sex or whatever. But
certainly is.
You're more creative. A more creative way to do that. Well, congratulations on your success and to your asshole as well. I think it's one of the I don't know. It seems for me, for some reason, authors I've always held to a higher admiration, I guess, than other art forms. But I don't know why. And maybe that's because I do stand up.
Because you guys are mostly illiterate people, so I think that's kind of a your thing. But I mean, it was a comedy book, right? So I had to write so many jokes. Like, there's probably like 200 original jokes in that book, and I just pulled them from my archives. Like, I would just try to insert them into conversation, right? Because you don't remember chat, so you would grab like there was one joke I wrote, like, how do you study for an HIV test? So then you like find a way to incorporate that in some random dialogue to punch the joke. So it was a different kind of process, right? Where you're not just writing a book, you're like trying to interweave all these jokes and then also make it seem like you're not trying too hard or like trying to shove a joke in a conversation. And like my friends come across a lot funnier than they are because it's all my jokes.
You're like, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Well, that does add another layer to it. So you're still just, I'm giving you all the credibility here because I think it's impressive that you not only wrote a book, but it's also added layer of it needs to be funny, and it is funny. That's a lot of jokes. So, congratulations. Anyways, all right. So that we know you're a good, you got some good ideas and whatnot. So now when I kind of sent you the prompt, what bad ideas did you think of?
Okay, so these are some. I have a lot here, but these are some of the ones where like, when you say bad ideas, like on paper they're probably bad, but like I think they probably would work in this climate because, I mean, we're really in the end stages of hell right now. So I
Yeah,
feel like
well,
I saw this thing on
hopefully.
Netflix today, and it's like a dating show where everyone's wearing like furry heads. Uh,
Okay.
I, yeah. So I mean, and the Masked Singer, it's like, this is the end, so these might work. But I was thinking, okay, one of the ones I talked about is like I have an idea for a reality show, and I want to have like 15 stereotypical gay guys
Okay.
in the middle of a field, like just in the middle of a field. And on the left, you have everything you need to build a house, and then on the right, you have 5 pounds of cocaine.
Okay.
And
Are
you
they
just
given a
go.
choice, or is it that, or they gotta like see how fast they can utilize all the materials they've been given?
Well, they're gay, so they'll probably do the cocaine in about an hour, and then they'll just be forced to bicker. But I mean, I'm a stereotypical gay guy. Like, for example, one time in my house, there was these bulbs, like the longer tube bulbs, and I didn't know they come in different sizes. So the reason I got this idea was like I went to the hardware store and I said to the guy, "Oh, I need one of those like long tube bulbs," and he's like, "What size is that?" And I have like a like a gay handicap, so I was like, just the long ones. And he's like, "Yeah, they come in different sizes." So I had to buy 9 different bulbs and then go back to my house and go like, "Nope, nope." And then the 6th bulb worked, and I just threw out the other 8 bulbs
You just threw
right in the
them
garbage.
out.
And I was
I
like,
like that
I
you
am a joke of a person.
couldn't have
Like, I
gone
haven't
home
gone-
and checked first and then come back. But yeah, you're like, I'm not taking 2 trips for this. So
Well, I have to return them, blah blah blah. So then I just went down to the garbage room. So I think that's a good idea for a reality show.
I mean,
But-
definitely as far as being entertainment, I would watch that for sure. I
Right.
mean, is there a prize? Is there like a reason for, or is it just to see what happens, kind of a real world type situation?
The prize is they're probably all just gonna end up having sex with each other. I imagine that's what would happen. So the prize would probably be like gonorrhea or something. So
Or if they do a good enough job, they have a house to sleep together in, to have sex
I
in,
mean,
maybe.
again, you have to have stereotypical gay guys, because I do know some gay guys who would just slap that shit together, or lesbians would
Right.
probably be a better option. But like slap it together in an hour or so. So that's my first bad idea. I don't know what you think about that.
I like it. Oh, do you have a name for it? Is always my question. But I think, I mean, if you utilize it correctly, and of course I get competitive when it comes to reality shows, but you could use the cocaine to help you build if you did it correctly. But if we're going full stereotype, that's probably not the order it's going to get done in. But
Oh no, but we want the drama, right? So
Oh,
as it
yeah.
escalates, we could just call it Coke and Cock.
well, then I don't know what we need the house for.
Oh, the house is not getting built, Monica. I think you need to understand.
I see. This is just so sponsorship will be like, it's a home makeover show.
Right.
Right. And then
exactly.
but it's really mostly about the cocaine and the dicks.
Yes. So I mean, they'll probably just start slapping each other, and then you probably get like a couple episodes out of it. So that's my first bad idea.
Okay.
Okay, so then the other idea I have is, and this really only works for promiscuous people like myself in my 20s, is like bingo. Like you're playing bingo with a bunch of people, but it's for who can get all the HPV strains.
Is there the same amount of strains? Like, what's at the top there? Is it?
I mean, there's just different because
I'm trying to think of
what
what is
happened
it.
was my mom was like, my mom's a doctor. She basically looked at me. She's like, "You're a whore, and you need to get the HPV vaccine." And I was like, "True." So I got the first one, and it covered a bunch of strains that cause cancer. And then she, like 2 years later, she was like, "Hey, there's another vaccine you have to go get now. There's more strains."
Got it.
And so I paid another $500 and got the next one. And then by the time that like more years gone by, there was like 10, 20, 30 more strains. So I just kind of gave up. But I thought if there was a way to track it, because my favorite story ever, I don't know if people know this story, is the story of Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Do you guys know that story?
I'd only heard because it was a throat cancer. Is that right?
He got throat cancer, and I didn't know they could do this. They traced it, and it was HPV in his throat, and he did an interview for some reason telling everyone like, yeah, that's how I got it, from essentially oral sex. But of course he had a wife at the time, so he
Right.
did this press tour, and he essentially told everyone like, shit, her pussy almost killed me. And then they divorced.
I had heard that he was like just very briefly, someone being like, "Yeah, Michael Douglas got throat cancer from going down on Catherine Zeta-Jones too much," and I was like,
Yeah,
that
but like
sounds weird.
he didn't have to tell the press. Like, I imagine she
There's
was
a
in
lot
the
of other
divorce
reasons
office.
too. Like,
Yeah, but it's like, why would you're in the divorce office and you're like telling the lawyer, like, what's the basis of the divorce? He told everyone my pussy almost killed him. Like, that's literally
yeah, that's pretty
the
much it.
reason. And then I think of all the girls that don't know that some guy goes down on them and they hear about like 4 or 5 years later that he's got throat cancer and they're thinking like, oh, that's bad luck,
That
but it's
could-
actually just their pussy.
It's
And they
them.
have it's like an assassin pussy.
They're
You don't
serial
even know.
killers and they don't even know.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
man.
terrifying. It's terrifying, this stuff.
The most prolific serial killer is HPV. Nobody knows though.
I mean, right? So like I think about it and I'm like, geez, we're all just, it's kind of the meaning of life. We're all just passing HPV strains among each other. Right?
Yeah, that's the moral. Of
And
life.
and
That's
love
good.
and affection and all that horse shit.
Okay, so
but,
do you
yeah.
win cancer if you get the bingo?
That's a great question.
So far, your prizes are not just been diseases actually, but
I mean, I think if you get to the end and you have all the strains and you don't have cancer, like that's a win in itself.
That
but
is
I haven't
true.
really thought. I mean, I guess maybe the prize is like chemo.
oh, they pay for your you're Canadian, right? I was gonna
Yeah,
say they pay for your medical bills. They don't do that.
Yeah,
here,
we take
so-
care of each
yeah.
other around here. I don't know, you fucking wasteland of a country.
Yeah, we don't do that.
No, you just throw them on the streets. It's
Honestly,
working.
that would go best here because of that. If it's like, okay, you play HPV Bingo and whoever wins gets healthcare.
I mean, it's very strange that like, because it's responsible for the majority of like penile, anal, I think, and throat cancers, like high percentage, like 70, 80, and it's just this silent killer that no one knows. Like,
Is
there's
it just that stigma of talking about that it's a sexual thing? I mean, I don't really.
I don't know. I
I-
think because it's just it's a silent killer, right? Like that situation. He just went down on his wife and then wakes up, probably a couple years later and boom, throat cancer. And unless you make that connection, you could have throat cancer based on some girl you went home with like 6 years ago at the bar and she just passed you the strain that causes cancer. I mean, this is why my anxiety is crippling. This is why I'm a faggot because of all the HPV out there.
It's well, because you hear people joke about it and that it's like more common than you think just to have HPV. Like a lot of people just have it, but I don't think people talk enough about the connection to it causing other things, especially these cancers. Because
Right?
we used to hear stories, and mind you, I don't know what's true anymore, but about like we do a lot of anti-smoking stuff in high school and middle school. And it was like, oh yeah, it was secondhand smoke. She never even smoked. It was secondhand smoke, and she got throat cancer. And now I'm like, maybe it's HPV. I don't know.
Right?
Did you think about that?
I looked up all these stats and it was actually very terrifying. I just think what's interesting to me is it's just a silent killer. Like, because you don't know, like all these girls like primp their vaginas and like, shove, what is Gwyneth Paltrow, shove a jade stone in your pussy, or I don't
Oh,
know.
God, I don't know
But
what
like
she's
they
doing down
think
there.
it's so pretty and beautiful and they give it a name, but it's actually like a Jason
Just
Bourne
killing.
assassin pussy
So now you're like, I'm
taking
gonna
out men.
stay gay.
Yeah.
But I've also because
Now
it
I've
can
terrified
be
half your audience.
I
Like,
know.
I'm never going down on a woman again.
well, it can turn into cervical cancer for the woman.
Just eat ass through a mask, guys. That's how you do it. that's how we've been doing it all through COVID. I've just been eating ass through a mask.
And cancer free. There you go.
I got more ideas for you. if
All
you
right.
want.
All right. What's next?
Your audience just mouth agape like, oh shit, I gotta go to the doctor.
No. No.
Okay.
Oh yeah, probably.
So this one's I couldn't do because there's like a trademark issue. So that's what makes it dumb. But when I first heard the words, when I first heard Beyond Meat, Beyond Meat, that plant-based
Yeah.
meat, I thought that would be a great idea for a lesbian dating app.
Beyond Meat. Okay. Yeah. Oh, it almost sounds like people who came out later in life. Like
Yeah,
it would
they're
be
beyond the
after-
horizon.
Yeah, like they maybe were married very unhappily to a man for a long time, and then this is afterwards.
Well, do
Which
you know
it
this?
could
I don't know
be.
if my producer told you, but the reason I'm a comedian, largely is because my dad growing up was a penis doctor, like a urologist.
Okay.
And then for people that don't know, and I used to work at his office, and I used to like fold the letters telling the guys how to shave their balls, and like, it was a horror show. But then when I was 23 years old, my dad left the family computer open on a website called squirt.org. Which is for people who don't know, it's a public sex only like hookup site for gay men.
Oh, okay.
And then I had to tell my mom that my dad was gay, and that was the basis of their divorce, is that we found him on that site with his giant penis, and I had to witness that. And that's like, then that connection, my dad being a gay penis doctor, kind of made sense.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you do what you love, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, and that's why you were like, I'll come volunteer. This is good. Wow. So you were the one that had to tell her?
I irrationally did not confront my dad. We didn't really have a great relationship, but I just literally like ran to my mom and was basically like, Dad loves dick. And
I mean, I don't know why
like, truly.
I'm so interested in the fact that they're both doctors, but
Yes. Well, I wondered if it's like for him, if it's like I mean, this is kind of like a hack premise, but like if for him, if it's a calling, like if you are going through medical school and you do all the rotations and you're like, oh, I like this one, like I get to hold 40 cocks a day. Or if it's like you're in high school and you go to your guidance counselor and ask her for a job where you could hold 40 cocks a day.
yeah,
She's like, I have one for you.
there is some thing, I don't know. I've never been a guy that's one of those like no homo kind of guys. But if the guidance counselor, whoever, or, you're getting split up in medical school, was like, well, with this one, you will have to hold a bunch of dicks or put your finger in butts or whatever, see people's and then the people who are like, no, I'm fine with that. Seems like there's no talking into, then okay, maybe.
This is a job perk, I mean. But I imagine, honestly, from working at my dad's office, that the type of men that were coming in for like urinary problems and all that, like we're just like 65-year-old
yeah,
men.
I was gonna say, maybe not really his type. That's the other part, is that because straight men joke about being gynecologists a lot, and I think there would be plenty of reasons why that might ruin it for you, and so I would assume it would be the same for dicks, in that they're not all going to be good or the kind you like.
Correct, yes.
He was like, I can't help you. Sorry, I can't help you. Can't help you.
I wonder if it clicked in med school. He was like examining a dick. He's like, you just feeling a little something.
When did your parents get together? Before then?
In medical school.
In medical school. Okay.
Yes. So that's where they met, and that was and then I asked my mom. I was like, did you ever think he was gay? And hindsight's obviously 2020. and then just an onslaught of shit started coming out of her mouth.
She's like, yes.
And I was just like, then that's where more trauma just kind of rattled me, because then she's like, there was this one time he's looking at a waiter's ass and I caught him, and the blah blah blah, and then it just all came out. And then by the end I was just like, really, you didn't piece those like 100 moments together?
Well, I was gonna say there's a lot of little moments that you can go back to, but I guess the overarching one would be that he holds dicks all day. Like that would be kind of, I mean, if you really had to think about it, then okay, that seems different now. Okay, sorry.
I have another one for
you. You have another one. You got a nice personal story.
I wrote these while I was stoned on the balcony.
That's good. That's our favorite kind. Honestly, some of our favorite episodes have been like, I was stoned when I came up with these. It's great.
Okay, this one's kind of cruel, but like, I'm kind of over this thing where we have to pretend all kids are gifted.
Okay.
So I was thinking maybe instead of like when kids bring their paintings and stuff from like elementary school, instead of people saying, oh, that's beautiful or whatever, that we just really just critique them instead of encouraging them, because I think it sets you up better for life if you're ridiculed at a young age. Because my friend showed me her daughter's painting, and she's like probably, I don't know, 3, and I'm not good at like fake comedians. So she showed it to me, and she was like, I look at like this and the sunset, and like I think she's gifted. And I just looked at her and I was like, is this the part where I pretend she didn't trace her hand?
You said that out loud.
Like, where's the sunset? It looks like she just traced her hand and like made it into like a turkey
Yeah,
or
I was
something.
gonna say that's a turkey. That's not.
Yeah, all those
Sunset.
premises. So I think we should just, my point is that we should just ridicule children and set them up for life instead of this new thing where we pump them up and give them self-esteem. I think you build the self-esteem from overcoming obstacles, and that would be us, just a bunch of comedians just ripping apart 3-4-year-olds.
I like that, actually. I really like that, because I have that philosophy with my stepson. I used to work with kids, like that was my job before I did stand up full time, and I was the assistant director at a Boys and Girls Club, and I was always kind of the mean one technically, but I just didn't give in, I guess, with that. Like whatever it was, I wasn't gonna pump them full of rainbows, I guess. And so I'm like that with our son, where like he hasn't won anything in 2 years because I don't, like, if you want to play soccer or basketball or whatever, like I'm a pretty athletic person. So he said, well, and then he's like, I'm the fastest kid in the world. And then he's running with all the other kids. And I'm like, you're last, man. Like, what makes you think, like they are told and I think try a million things is a different message than you can be good at anything. Because I don't know if that's true. I think you should try lots of stuff and find out what you like. Maybe it's holding dicks. I don't know. But you might not be good at everything. So I think I like this. So maybe some kid is like, I'm going to be a painter. And then they bring it to us and we're like, no, you're not. That's not.
Who's good at, I love you said good at holding dicks. Like, who's good at holding dicks? You just place it in your palm and like,
I don't know.
it just lays there. Like holding
Or
it
that's
like
your
a gift.
passion.
Well, you know what it is like, I think because I'm super tough and I don't identify with this like millennial fragile generation, because I'm an entrepreneur, I hire people and I just kind of look at them sometimes when they talk about, what they're going through and their feelings. And it's not that I'm like, I don't care, but it's kind of just like life goes on. And I'm a person who was super traumatized and went through a lot of stuff growing up, that it set me up for success. Like, and it really did. Like, nothing really can really phase me, and I have a level of confidence, and like, especially doing stand-up, you go up on stage, it's just like Jesus.
No.
So I think it's like we're doing them a disservice in a way, by coddling them at a young age instead of kind of shielding them from the blows of the world, rather than just putting them out there and like getting through that phase and then going over the hill.
I think this is I think you're onto something here, because you're right. A lot of millennial parents either, I don't know, but they shield a little bit and want everything to be as easy as possible, the bullying and all that stuff. And some of us have not been through anything. I'm very blessed that my trauma was when I was much younger, and so I have a very jaded look at the world, which is maybe, again, why I'm a stand-up. But so you want to prepare them, because you're like, it's not always going to be easy at all. So maybe there's parents who aren't good at that part, aren't good at being realistic, aren't good at being honest about the struggles that will come no matter who you are with life. So then they send them to us.
And you and I just make them cry.
Yeah. And then
painting.
that would be, because I think about, like, my parents, I have good parents. They, stayed together, but my mom was married before, like there was whatever. It all ends up working out. But we had these weird random characters in our life, like Uncle Perry and stuff, who was just, I mean,
A molester?
There's
always an Uncle Perry that's touching you.
Uncles are always touching. No, that's not true. But it is often. No, he wasn't even related to us, but he, like, if you could think of a quintessential, like, Harley biker kind of guy, that's what he was. And so you just saw, like, a different type of person than you ever, I don't know, but you could tell he had been through some shit, And I don't think enough people have that experience, or they haven't met people who are different or have gone through shit or whatever it is. You need I like the rough around the edges. So if you don't have that in your life for your children, we can do that for you.
We'll torture your children forever. I bet you if we pitched that, you know what, nowadays anything would fly. Okay, I have one more for you. Okay, what do you think of, so I went on a bad date one time and the guy ordered milk. Like, not
was
even
it
like
a dinner date? Not that it would be not weird. Why would you go to breakfast?
Well, it ended very quickly, but like really quickly. But I went on a date with him and I was just like, I don't have a problem if anyone's like sober or whatever, like, you know, whatever. So I ordered a drink, and then he's like, we were in a bar. We were in like a dive bar, and he ordered milk, and he wanted homo milk, and she only had 2%. And he got really angry. And then he just kept ordering milk, and he was telling me the stories of his life, and he had a milk mustache. And then the waitress came over to him, and he's like, "Can we get another round?" And the waitress was like, "Of milk?" And I asked her, I'm like, "Can you filter it through your titty like his mom did? Like, clearly there's some problems here." And when I went to the washroom, she turned to me, she's like, "Psst," and I came over, and she goes, "Do not fuck him." And I was like, "Oh, I was not going to."
I mean, he just said dairy. That's never going to be a good
No,
go.
he's gonna be perfect. So the bad date idea I had was like, if you're on a first date, it's a bar crawl, and at every bar that you go to have a drink on the bar crawl, you meet the person's exes at each bar.
Oh.
So you have that drink with each of their exes, and you get like, let's say 10 minutes with their ex to pump them for info, and say you do like 5 exes.
Okay. That's interesting.
That's wicked, no? I kind of think that's a good idea.
No, that is a good idea. Because
Because
people always say that where they're like, that you can't talk about exes on your first few dates and stuff. And I'm like, that's still a lot of information, you know, like that you would need. I mean, my fiance had a child before, so we had to talk about at least one ex. But that's, it tells a lot about the person, I think, you know, like what their exes think of them, who they chose prior. You know,
and what strain of HPV they're gonna get.
Yeah, what strain of HPV they
we
have.
could combine that with the bingo. I think would probably be a wicked
That's true.
idea.
When you go, it's like a scavenger hunt. You know, when you get like a stamp from each bar or whatever, then that would be like whatever HPV strain they had. Then
Right.
you would get that stamp.
And they're like, "Oh, you're gonna get herpes too." Oh shit.
Oh, that's a bonus.
Like,
That's good.
Yeah, but I think that's actually great because when I go on a date, my friends think I'm weird for this. If I have a first date with someone I met on an app, I have a phone call first to vet them, so I don't waste an hour and a half of my life.
I don't think that's weird. I think that seems safer too. But what do I know?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's more just like sometimes you call them and immediately, like, you can even tell with the voice, like they'll pick up like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm out.
You're like,
I'm out.
nothing. Gotta go.
You're breaking up.
That's a
You're on a
good.
landline.
That's a good. I kind of like that one. That's like a fun. I mean, if you're both up, it's like speed dating, but speed, like getting to know someone's background. I don't know. That can be.
Just get it all out of the way, right? And then you
Yeah.
can see if the other person's hotter than you, if they're fucking up or down. Like you could adjust, right? And be like, "Oh, I'm hotter than this person, so they're doing better than me." Then that gives you
Maybe
a
they
little
got
leverage and power.
their shit together. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I like it.
I like
This is
that.
a good idea.
That
I
is
think.
a good idea. Honestly, I think those are pretty good ideas. Those two together, and then we will toughen up your children for you.
We'll torture your children. It'll be like Guantanamo, and we'll just torture your children.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, I like those. All right, you did great. You did great.
Yes.
Where can people find you? Where can they find Unmentionable? Social your Instagram handles.
Squirt.org is where I will be.
I will never get over .org. Like
I know
it's a
they're an
charity.
organization of people who like to have sex in gas stations.
guess
That's
so.
literally what it is. It's just they also rate the places. I forgot to say this. They rate the places to have public sex. So it'll be like Esso's gas station. I shit you not. If you go on, there's like reviews like great for glory holes, yada yada yada.
Wow, check
But
out
yes,
our new
I'm
sponsor,
not on there.
Squirt.org.
I'm not on squirt.org. I am on Instagram and Twitter at jpowercomedy, and my podcast comes out every Friday called Unmentionable. We put it on YouTube. It's also on all players. It's truly the most ridiculous thing that I can't even believe I'm still on YouTube. I've interviewed
They haven't
like
taken you down.
the world's biggest sperm donor, a girl who burps on OnlyFans for $4.99 a month. I
Wait, what?
interviewed a woman that like humiliates men and makes $500,000 a year. And then last week I interviewed the guy, I don't know if you'd seen him in the press, Yuri Toliko. He's the guy who married a sex doll.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's the end. This is really just me hurrying it along.
Well, yeah. We might as well get as much information at the end as we can. So that's good.
Exactly.
That's great. Well, yeah. Check it out. Okay, J Power Comedy and Unmentionable podcast and your book, Famous Anus. You can get that, I'm sure.
Yes.
Somewhere. And then for us, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify or whatever else you use, subscribe, follow, do all the things, give us a review. You can find me and my live dates, monicanevi.com. And we also have YouTube memberships. If you want to join, you get behind the scenes videos of my bad ideas. And also I have full stand-up sets, some other benefits, I guess, if you want to help feed my family. All right. You guys have been great. You know what? Right now, just keep watching Dumb Pitches.
You're weird.
Yes.